Morning.
David, did you hear from Amy?
No, I'm just gonna, I did email her with everything everybody else got, so I'm just gonna call her right now.
I can text her.
Okay. So the only person who's not going to be coming is Sharon Quigley. She had a last-minute meeting pop up. So I think all of us are here except for Amy.
Ready whenever you are, Janet.
All right. You call it to order and I'll read the script.
Sure. Calling to order the Visitor Services Advisory Committee meeting for October 12th, 2021. And Janet, if you could.
Sure. Members of the public wishing to participate in the meeting must use their full name for Zoom access. If full names are not used, people will not be allowed to participate in the discussion. The town reserves the right to remove any member of the public from the meeting who doesn't use a full name or acts inappropriately. As a preliminary matter, this is Janet Schulte, Director of Culture and Tourism. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Mary Malavis.
Here.
Matt Peel.
Here.
Peter Morrison.
Here.
Josh Gray.
Here.
Sarah Boyce.
Here.
Liz Holland.
Here.
Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. David Sharp.
Here.
Janet Schulte here. Anticipated speakers on the agenda have not yet arrived. We'll call her name when she arrives. This open meeting of the Visitor Services Advisory Committee is being conducted remotely pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless participation is required by law. This meeting will not feature public comment. For this meeting, Visitor Services Advisory Committee is convening by video conference via Zoom app as posted on the town's website, identifying how the people may join. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that all attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you and to take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All supporting materials that have been provided members of this body are available on the town's website unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless the chair notes otherwise. We are now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. The chair will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in a conversation with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. Each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. So we're ready to commence with the agenda. We don't have our speaker.
Do we need to approve previous minutes?
Oh, that's true, yes.
All right. Motion to approve September 14th, 2020 minutes for the Visitor Services Advisory Committee. Is there a
So
second?
moved.
Second.
All right. Minutes are approved.
I think you need a roll call vote for that too.
Oh, we do? Okay. It's been seconded, so can I get a roll call? Mary, do you approve?
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Liz,
Yes.
so moved. And then are we just waiting on Amy at this point?
Yeah, but we can go into our respective reports, and if she doesn't come, we can have a general conversation about outdoor dining. And I can take notes and get back to her.
Yeah, you want to go ahead, Jared?
Sure. It's been a busy month, a couple of photo opportunities for culture and tourism. We're named, Nantucket was named a green community about 1.5 years ago. And the visitor services and culture and tourism benefited from that because we got the new heat pumps in our offices and in the women's bathroom, which has really made the air a lot cleaner, and it's much more comfortable being in there now, and we don't have those noisy air conditioners rumbling in our heads all day long. And we also got the electric charging stations all around town that we use to charge our electric vehicle with. And when those first came on, I spent a couple of days driving around plugging into them because that's how they all got started. We needed a vehicle to plug them in. We also I went to the USS Nantucket Crest unveiling. I don't know if you've seen the new Crest.
Oh, yeah. That was super cool.
Yeah.
Where was that, Janet?
That was at the NHA, and then there was another ceremony at the Great Harbor Yacht Club.
Oh, okay.
And it was a very moving military ceremony, as they always are, with all the little people doing their steps around and speeches and stuff. But it was hosted by a summer resident whose husband was a Secretary of the Navy under, what's that last president? Oh, yeah, President Trump. And we had people down here from Old Ironsides, the USS Constitution, doing the flag ceremony.
Cool.
And it was just a lovely afternoon. We've been spending a lot of time talking about July 4th activities. There's another meeting tomorrow to which the public has been invited. These are internal discussions. We've invited Main Street businesses to join us and members of the Chamber of Commerce to talk with town administration and public safety about the 4th of July activities on Main Street. And the fire department and the Boynton Lane Reserves, the other company that participates in the water contest, are reimagining the water fight as a contest. The trick, but it won't be on Main Street. The trick is that it has to be near a fire hydrant. So that rules out town Nevers because there's not public water service out there. So they're thinking now about where to have that and how to make that happen. It'd be something like filling up a big 55-gallon drum with water, and whoever wins first, or doing sort of a push a bucket along a wire thing. But I'm leaving that to the chief to figure out. And we will be moving Main Street activities to Children's Beach and collapsing them, the afternoon ones with some of the morning ones, into one location. Still thinking about if there might be any activity on Main Street, like the national anthem or something like that, but those conversations are still, we're still in the middle of planning all that. I submitted the FY23 budget last week. Matt?
What time's that meeting tomorrow?
It's an internal meeting, so it's
Oh,
town
okay.
administration.
Oh, sorry.
And
Okay.
Yeah, it's not we invited public into it, but it's not open to the public meeting, staff meeting. Submitted the FY23 budget. The most significant change was the increase in the cost of the fireworks contract, because we've insisted that they be on the 4th, and because we insisted on that, the cost of the barge goes up about 20%. So we increased the fireworks budget by $12,000, so it's somewhere in the north of $60,000 to host that firework on July 4th now. And we also lined it up with our other goals, supporting the cultural district, providing accurate information to visitors, and keeping this committee informed as well. I've also been working with the select board on the strategic plan, and there's a presentation on an update on the strategic plan at this Wednesday, tomorrow night's select board meeting, and the progress that has been made there. And in spite of the pandemic, there's a lot of work that's been done on keeping that plan front and center on the cabinet and the town staff. getting those things done. I'm also a member of a new group called the Licensing Work Group. It used to be an events committee, but it's sort of morphed into approving all sorts of permits or reviewing permits before they go to the select board to identify what some of the issues are in order to streamline those discussions at the select board level. Halloween is coming up in a couple of weeks, and we're looking for volunteers. Thank you, Mary, for volunteering to hand out candy to the little gremlins. The Cultural Council will meet in November. That's different from the district. The council gets money from the state to give to artists and art organizations and cultural organizations. They're having a meeting on November 4th, and they have $9,500 to distribute. So the deadline for that application is this Friday, and we're beating the bushes to get people to apply for those funds. And continue to work with the cultural district on developing a new robust website. So that's what I've been up to in the last month. I'll have to take any questions.
What was the reasoning behind making sure fireworks are on the 4th this year? Hasn't it been like kind of the police were focused on the beaches and things like that on the 4th and the fireworks were the 5th previously? They
were until 2 years ago. And then the fire chief announced that this is when my whole love affair with fireworks began. The police chief announced that they now had enough staff to be able to handle what was going on with the beaches. And so when I called the fireworks company to say, okay, we want them on the 4th, they go, well, we don't have a barge and you're not paying enough to have them on the 4th. So I went through back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And finally we canceled the whole contract after we couldn't do them 2 years in a row and issued a new contract with a specific date on it. Because the select board really wants them on the 4th. And so that's what we're gonna do.
Janet, Peter Morrison, I have a question. Do you have any sense of whether the two chiefs, police and fire, found that the issues appearing to be resolved, at least partly, that they were concerned with, are going in the direction that, you know, they wanted, to a degree that they wanted? I mean, it sounds like people have paid attention to what they said, and I just wondered if you'd heard anything back, good, bad, or indifferent.
Do you mean about the 4th of July activities?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're very much in tune with moving it off Main Street and both the morning activities because of the dangers of the cobblestones and the crowds that amass. And it's really gotten huge in the last 15 years. And so, and they feel like they can control the crowd better. Liz, I think you need to mute.
Yep. Sorry, technical issues here.
Oh, that's good to know. I mean, I'd like them to at least see that there was some progress. We're now thinking seriously about the issues they raised.
And then just with my Dreamland hat, you said you were beating the bushes for people to apply for that. Could our theater program apply for something like that, or is it not? Is it not?
Yes, Dreamland has applied in the past.
Okay.
Last year they applied for operating costs and they can't fund operating costs. It has to be a specific program.
Oh, okay.
They're available online at the Mass Cultural Council's website, the guidelines for it, and they've really streamlined the application process. So somebody should take a look at it.
Yeah, I'll mention it to Alicia today.
And nature organizations can participate too, Sarah. Your story.
Can you tell them I'm like taking notes as you're talking when my arm moves? Yeah. Thanks, Janet.
Welcome.
I'm sure Amy was going to give us an update, but since we already started on the 4th, has there been any movement on pops on either side of the equation?
I haven't heard anything. I know they started the conversation and they were still talking about Jetty's Beach. And that's still a concern of the public safety people because of the crowds and managing the coolers and all that stuff going in. So it may well be there, but if it's there, it's going to look a lot different than it has in the past. In terms of people bringing in their own coolers of food, and we'll have to figure out some way to control the consumption of alcohol and the requirement that people be there to help manage traffic when the event is over. Should we go to David's report?
Sure.
All right. For September, we're still chugging along with about 7,064 visitors combined between the three locations, 4,001 of which are at the main office. I do want to point out that these stats are a little off compared to 2018, 2019, when we also included the Greenhound station as part of our group of information desks. We're no longer there, and so that would have averaged something like 400 people a month. So just keep that in mind. But we're still busy. We had 477 phone calls and 75 lodging inquiries. The weekly restaurant list is still going strong at 5649. And then the others, like the travel lodging brochure downloads, 504, people still looking for rooms, 388. And that is really all I have, except I just want to note that we're now going into our late fall hours. We'll be open 6 days a week and closed on Sundays, depending on staffing the rest of the time. But we're even October has been kind of busy. So it was a kind of a fun weekend, holiday weekend. A lot of people coming and going. And, there were weddings as well as all these events that were happening around downtown. And so unfortunately, one of our big draws, the shipwreck shuttle for the Shipwreck Museum, will stop running because the museum itself is now closed. But that was something that we sent people to because a lot of people couldn't get into the Whaling Museum with their timed entry. So it was a great alternative. And then the Cisco shuttle is going to cut back to like weekends. That's another draw here. So, but other than that, we're getting into October and fall and working on Halloween. Any questions?
Good. Yeah.
I got a quick question. Are we keeping track of the sellouts, like which days are completely booked across the, all the rooms on the hotel?
We did during the summer, but it doesn't seem to be happening like that now. Although last weekend it was, pretty strong. There were a few openings, but it wasn't like July or August. But no, we do keep that in mind all the time.
What do you guys hear about the restaurants and, the need for workers? Is that still pretty bad? I mean, seems like Sundays, there's like 3 restaurants open now.
That's something that, it's always seems to be a staffing issue. A lot of times on Mondays, there's not very much open for dinner. And now that, a lot of restaurants are going to be closing after Columbus Day or the holiday weekend, we're just kind of waiting to see what how the dust settles, and then try to figure out who's going to be open for Thanksgiving and Stroll. We're starting to get those inquiries.
Cool. Anybody have anything else? Janet, how should we proceed?
I heard from Amy. She thought the meeting was tomorrow. She worked all weekend and is taking the morning off.
Okay.
She was going to speak with us about outdoor dining, and she apologizes. She was going to speak to us about outdoor dining looking forward. We could have a conversation about that, but it's probably more fruitful to invite her to next month's meeting and have the conversation with her then directly.
For sure. Yeah. Anybody have an issue with that? Pushing Amy to the next meeting?
No. Janet, through Josh, I have a quick question. Is it, even if pandemic restrictions are eased next year, that the town is considering outdoor dining in perpetuity, so to speak?
Yeah, but different forms of it. I think there's gonna be fee assessed for use of public property, like Oak Street. If people set up there, I think we won't see the big crowds at Lemon Crest. On the sidewalks where they're crowded will probably not happen because there's plenty of room indoors. Those are the two that I've mostly heard about. And then better management of trash and blowing things and
Yeah.
music and that kind of stuff. All the complaints that we've been hearing.
Yeah.
Under consideration.
Thanks.
Sure. I think the only other thing that I would mention, and I don't know what to do with this quite yet, but I heard from two people in Sconset, two of the Sconset associations, that they're getting 300 to 400 people a day this summer on the Sconset Bluff. And the Sconset Bluff people are getting annoyed at that. I don't know what to do about telling them where to go or
The Bluff Walk?
the Bluff Walk, yeah.
Oh,
And apparently they're not being well-behaved Bluff Walk people. They're
oh, okay.
sitting in people's chairs and on their porches and stuff
Oh,
like that.
wow. Okay.
Sarah,
I want to add, oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I know that the right of way committee has a lot, of input on those kind of seemingly private ways that homeowners often complain about, and I don't know if they would have any additional input, but I noticed, I happened to be in Sconset for the first time in like 6 months this weekend, and I was shocked at how many people were there. It was like for someone that doesn't normally go down there, there were so many people walking the bluff. So I see that, but I see the people. I mean, there's the individual homeowners have signage that say like, stay on the path and things like that, but I don't really know either, but notice.
I want to add that a lot of people come in here asking how to get to the Bluff Walk. So it's really, there seems to be some sort of, people are aware of it before they get here and they want to go out and see it. And, so they're like, how do I get to Sconset? And it's just amazing because I think we've had more questions this year about the Bluff Walk than we've ever had.
Maybe
that's the only place. That's the only place where the buses are running now. They don't go to Nantucket after Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
Okay, unless there's anything else, I'll make a motion to adjourn. All right, motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
All right, seconded. All right, everyone, I think we're all set. We'll hear from Janet and David about our next month meeting with Amy.
And don't forget Halloween.
Oh, yes, and
Yeah,
everybody
certainly come down in
for Halloween.
costume if you can't volunteer.
Yes.
I'll volunteer, Janet. I'm happy to do that.
All right, thanks, Liz. I'll put you on the list.
It's a lot of
All right.
fun.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.